a flicks tape.
They have no future as they have no past. Tomorrow as today, slavery will be their only possible privilege.
We gods, man. We kings, man. We lords.
I was born black, I live black, and I'm gonna die probably because some cracker that knows I'm black better than you, nigga, is probably gonna put a bullet in the back of my head.
This is the remix. My father was raised in the era when black niggas couldn't claim Native American.
Aborigines, which means what? Black folks. But you never find a white aborigine. Rather, aborigines are called natives, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are aborigines, but you don't like to be called an aborigine. You want to be called an American. Aborigine actually means from the beginning. Two Latin words, ab meaning from, origine meaning the beginning.
Great shock around the age of 5 or 6 or 7 to discover the flag to which you have pledged allegiance, along with everybody else, has not pledged allegiance to you. It comes as a great shock to discover that Gary Cooper killing off the Indians when you were rooting for Gary Cooper, that the Indians were you. That the Indians were you. It comes as a great shock to discover that the country, which is your birthplace, and to which you owe your life and your identity.
Remember that big Indian dude in that movie? Mm-hmm. He was cool. And then he couldn't talk unless he was talking about gum.
Yeah. You know, I think you're not supposed to say Indian either.
No way, really?
Yeah. I think you're supposed to call them African Americans.
Oh, you're shoemakers now. And more importantly, you're a person of color. You're no longer a Nipmuc person. And that shows through in these county histories and also in the census records at the time. You find a person described in the 1860 census as an Indian. In the 1870 census, they're described as a person of color or a colored person. Same person, but the census taker, as part of the white dominant society, decides that this person is no longer Nipmuc.
Since y'all always screaming about DNA, watch what the biology professor says about DNA. Watch this.
Smith's breakdown from Ancestry showed 97% European and 2% Asian.
I'm a black girl. I am not a Jewish white lady. I'm black. My parents were black.
She contacted Ancestry with questions, but says a rep told her the results are accurate.
These DNA tests for ethnicity are entertainment value only.
William Gilliland is a biology professor at DePaul. He says DNA kits can be great for connecting family members and finding relatives, but the science for ethnicity testing isn't as concrete.
There's nothing that confident for ethnicity. There's no diagnostic nucleotide. You can say this person is from Europe, this person's from Africa.
You see that? DNA can't tell you where you're from. A scholar tells the truth. Watch this.
But many African Americans, you are the Native Americans. You're not even African Americans, you're Native Americans. You're the ones that they brought blankets with, was it smallpox or whatever diseases, and wiped out entire communities because they said they came in peace, but they actually came in war. And they are still warring us right until this day. So there are those beloveds of you who really don't feel any connection to Mama Africa. And this is just, you know, a confirmation, a reassurance that America belongs to you.
So Africans know this history, but nobody else does? Come on, make it make sense.
At me. And so with the help of my wife, we extracted enough saliva to send off in the mail. We were so excited to see the results. After about 3 months, we were shocked. My lizard was 51% Ashkenazi Jewish. He was also 48% West Asian. This was really interesting. They also gave us a little bit of his background and his history, what he liked to eat, etc. Let us know which animal's DNA we should send in next.
You don't have to try to be something you're not. Trying to be something I'm not? Trying to be proud of my African heritage? That's being something I'm not, then fine. My grandmother was a full-blooded Iroquois. I know all of that, Mama. They won't know this. I am alive because of the blood of the people who never scraped or begged or apologized for what they were. They asked only one thing of this world, to be allowed to be. It broke my heart when you changed your name. I gave you my grandmother's name, a woman who bore 9 children and educated them all. Who held off 6 white men with a shotgun when they tried to drag one of her sons off to jail for not knowing his place. And you had to reach into an African dictionary to find a name that would make you proud.
My father was raised in the era when black niggas couldn't claim Native American. Making music would've thought I had help, but the Indians I know wanna be the chief they self.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let me get some fists and feathers in the chat if you can hear me loud, crisp, and clear, and we will go ahead and get this party started. Back by popular demand. Back by popular demand indeed. A couple days ago, I did a live stream revealing some Black indigenous surnames. You guys found that video very helpful, very useful, very enlightening. I found my family's last name under the Cherokee Nation. I know some of you guys found your surnames a part of different tribes as well. It's very interesting and important for us to look into this history that's been kept from us purposefully for oh so long. This is a part 2, if you will. If you guys want to see part 1, where we went through some other tribes, in part 1, we mostly focused on the natives on the East Coast, I think in the Virginia area. If you want to take a look at that original stream, just go to my channel. On the homepage of my channel, if you scroll down, there's a playlist called Native Black Americans. And if you look right here, we've got Indigenous Black American History, Find Your Family Surname. 2 days ago. Go ahead and check that out if you haven't seen it yet. But guys, hit the like button on the way in, share the video, hit the Cash App or the PayPal if you support the mission. If you want to call in, I'll drop the call-in link so you can provide some commentary. But let's get on with the content. And shout out to Tech. Tech says, this topic is what made me subscribe about a month ago. I've been digging into the census ever since. Well, hey, this is why I do what I do. I'm just trying to spread the knowledge. You know, I get a lot of gems from other content creators, and I like to just help spread the message with the limited reach I do have. Speaking of which, this content creator who we've been reacting to their videos lately, where they, you know, go through some books that give, you know, Black American Indian surnames. The name of this content creator, if you want to check out his channel, is Solinha, Sohilan, Solinha _YT. I'll go ahead and just put a link to this video in the chat so you guys can check him out and go over there and subscribe. Support that brother. But let's get into the content. This is part 2 of the roll call. Find Your American Indian Nation.
Hey family, please turn your handheld devices to landscape mode for the best out in the making of this video. Follow the breadcrumbs to discover more evidence of who the real indigenous American Indians were that inhabited the Americas and that are still here till this day. Now, before we dive into the rabbit hole of truth, if you're new to the channel, please like, share, and subscribe.
And y'all make sure to go check the brother out. It's Solinha. We dropped this video 9 months ago. I put the link in the chat.
Comment your thoughts down below. If you are already subscribed, welcome back to the channel, and thank you once again for your unwavering support. Please continue to like, comment, and share so more people can witness the truth. Let's go. Okay, so I wanted to bring this up side by side so y'all saw the thumbnail, right? So I wanted to just, before we dive in to the actual roll call, I wanted to show y'all the receipts for this and how that I keep bringing up, how a lot of us are starting to bring up now that we need to get rid of the word Black and African American. Okay, we don't even need Black American because there's only one type of American. Okay, so I bring that up because we're talking about roll call and finding our tribe and doing genealogy. Okay, genealogy, that's going to be the word forever. Okay, you see before you on the left, it says Allegory America. That's it. All right, let's read together. In the foreground, to natives. Okay, notice they didn't say to Negroes, to Black natives, to Negro natives, to mulattoes, colored, African Americans, to Africans, natives. I don't know if you guys understand or overstand how it's weird, not only weird, but it's just completely wrong when you're taking 2 steps backwards and only 1 step forward. Because they are selling, like I said in my last video, a couple of videos, they are selling your heritage, okay? They're selling you as you on paintings and murals and artifacts. They don't, when they sell your heritage, when they're selling the likeness of you and your ancestors, they're not selling you as Negroes or Black people and stuff like that. They're selling you as what you are because the name has value in it. That's why they spent so much time and energy reclassifying us like Walter Placker. That's so it'd be a household name that we all.
And guys, something that I have realized the more that I've dipped into this Aboriginal historical research is they do put a huge paywall behind a lot of this information. I've looked up books that have cost $1,000 or up to $2,000-$3,000 just because it, has some 16th century information on Aboriginal Indians in America. I mean, even this, I think this is a painting or something, and it says they're selling that for 1,800 euros. Come on, y'all.
Agree to hate. Okay, that's the reason why they reclassified us as Negro, because it's just too much power in an American. Because there's a difference between an American and a U.S. citizen. It's a huge difference. Okay, and you notice they have allegory of America, not an allegory of a U.S. citizen. All right, so we're gonna keep reading. So I want to keep driving that point out. They're selling our heritage for big money, and we're still walking around as Black or Black American or African American for pennies on the dollar. Actually, negative. Because collectively the equity is gone. We used to have how many millions of acres in the USA, and it's down to what, 1% of that? However, they're still selling our heritage for big money. You cannot get a picture of a today's or even back then's Negro. Let's say they call.
Guys, I've seen some videos of some brothers going to museums to find some of these Black native looking photos like you see here, right? And some of these dudes have had to jump through hoops. They've had to schedule private showings and sign waivers and contracts just to see some of these images. I mean, it runs deep. I'm actually going to do a stream about it next week. But guys, did you know most of the high fashion, most of the Louis Vuitton-esque, Prada-esque fashion houses, did you know that Louis Vuitton stole their pattern from indigenous tribes here in America? Did you know a lot of these fashion houses steal indigenous patterns and designs from Aboriginal culture?
Call it the allegory of a Negro. It wouldn't make no money. It's no value in that stuff. So the fact that they're buying up our heritage under the correct verbiage of Native, Indian, American, autochthonous, indigenous, original, and we're still running around calling ourselves Black and African American. All right. So we're going to keep reading. In the foreground, 2 natives, okay, in war gear on a rocky shore with a crocodile and palm tree. So let's scroll down, see that crocodile, and all right. So we're talking about the same thing. Now let's keep reading. All right. In the background, a sailing ship. You see that sailing ship, right? They're not afraid of that ship. You see what I'm saying? So this was something that to be known that, hey, they did business with the Europeans, and I got a whole bunch of business cards back then that indicated as such before the whole double cross, before the whole, the massacres, the Indian massacres. All right. So let's keep reading. So we know that this receipt on the right matches the receipt on the left. So we got a sailing ship and a flock of birds under a white to pink sky. See that? White to pink sky. Very specific.
And shout out to William. William just came through with the Cash App, putting something in the brown paper bag. I appreciate you, William. William says, let me see. William says, my grandmother was born in 1912. She said we're Indian. That's right. Listen to Nana. And thank you for putting something in the brown paper bag. Let's go, y'all. Let's go.
Fine polychrome painting, profile wooden frame with gilded inner bar, blah, blah, blah. All right. And then we go back to this word copper again. You see how copper glass and copper engraving, the same, which matches the copper of these 2 gentlemen, as you see in the picture to your right. All right. And then look at the year from a Giovanni Volpato, 1733 to 1803. So like I said, they're 2 natives in war gear. War, so it wasn't like they was running around like, oh, I'm a slave. No, these are natives, these are Americans, these are Indians, autochthonous, so they're not Black, and their descendants aren't Black either, or African American. So we need to get off of that, because they're just selling our heritage for big money. And then you scroll down and then you see it was in German. So like I was saying before, the European, everybody, you go to anywhere in Europe and ask anybody. It doesn't even matter if you're talk to anybody, any adult, 18 and up, and ask him if they would believe that anybody would come from a slave boat from Africa the way that they described it in the his.
Hey, let's talk about it. If you even ask Africans living on the continent of Africa about slaves being transported to North America, they'd be like, no, I never heard about, no. There was a lot of slaves that the West Africans sold and the white man transported to South America, to Brazil, to the Caribbean, the French West Indies, but Africans going to North America, nah. Matter of fact, if you guys Google it yourself, look up what is the percentage of African slaves that went to North America during the transatlantic slave trade, and even Google is going to tell you 4%. People argue over whether that 4% is 92,000 slaves or 300,000 slaves, but either way, that's the extreme minority that actually went to North America. And goddamn it, we just had a Cash App come through from Ace. Ace says, keep dropping them receipts, bro. I appreciate the contribution, Ace. Thanks for your support, brother. And Ace told me to keep dropping these receipts, so I got to keep dropping these receipts, okay? When I say that they not reclassified, I do speak about the reclassification quite frequently, though. But when we talk about 4%, only 4% of the African slaves coming to North America, I mean, again, this is public knowledge. This is what they put in their own publications. They say that only 4% arrived in North America. This right here is the largest theory over the number of people. This says 470,000. I can do a quick Google search and find another one that says 92,000. I can do another Google search and find one that says 200,000. So either way, we talking somewhere between 100 and 400,000, and now we've got 49 million, almost 50 million Black Americans, and you think we all came from African slaves when the average life expectancy of an African slave on a plantation was 21 years old? And women typically try to have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 children because 3 or 4 of them were going to die. I mean, come on. You want us to believe that we were just super breeding on the plantation? No, 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 no. We know what was really going on with the plantation. We know what Plecker did with the reclassification and taking Native Americans and reclassifying them as Negro. We know about it. And for those that don't know, you're about to find out.
Is storybook. They're gonna laugh at you because it doesn't make any sense. It's like, so where they gonna poop? Like, where they gonna poop and pee at? Like, nobody can just sit in that filth and just survive it. You know, people in the armed forces have to train.
And AB says, "Is that a dragon slain on the beach?" No, I think he said that's supposed to be a crocodile. So I guess the brothers just took out a crocodile in their war regalia, and you see a Spanish ship in the background. Come on, y'all. Come on, guys. I'm on a mission to give us the Aboriginal content that we desperately need. I mean, I envision in my mind's eye growing this platform to the point where I can put together a documentary film where we can actually visualize depictions of Black Aboriginal folks running around in war regalia, banging on the Spanish, banging on the Europeans. God damn it, they got so many 12 Years a Slave-esque movies, but I ain't seen one movie depicting Black Aboriginals warring with their foreign invaders.
For years to endure something half that the stuff that he talked about that every single one of our supposed ancestors went through, but we have no proof of it. Can't even find one ship that they can be like, yeah, this is where your ancestors came from, you know? Because they're gonna be like, oh, a bunch of people died underneath the sea and a lot of boats sank. No. You're telling me the only way I came into this country was on a slave ship, the shackles, peeing and crapping over myself, vomiting blood, chained, barely no water, force fed, muscle atrophy, sick, dysentery, flu, high fever, what else? Hypothermia, all of the below. Show me where my ship came from. Because you're trying to tell me that I'm connected to a slave ship coming from Africa to America. Show it to me. They can't show not one of us any of that stuff. But yet they on here buying and selling our heritage as Americans to natives in war gear. And you're looking at these two gentlemen, and they don't look like the Mongolian that they be parading around. Not even their ancestors or whatever. They like to lie and say like, oh, everybody was dark back then, so that was us. Look at this person and tell me, who does he look like to you? Who do they look like to you? Right, from head to toe. I'm talking about skin complexion, I'm talking about beard, nose, lips, eyes, ears, everything. Okay, I can find 50 million people like this in the Americas, and none of them would be considered a Mongolian. Now, it's not even one Mongolian out of the 50 million I can match that it looks like this from head to toe. But I can go a whole bunch of places in America that look exactly like this, but they would not be considered a Mongolian or today's whitewashed Native Americans. All right. So we're going to jump into it so we can see our tribes. But I just wanted you guys just drive this point home, how they're selling our heritage for big money. It's not even like, oh, look at this. This is so disrespectful. They're selling our heritage for pennies on a dollar. Nah, we want big money for your heritage. All right, but let's dive into the show. If you're here, if you're still here, please like, share, and subscribe. Comment your thoughts down below after the video, please, because sometimes the questions are answered in the video. Let's jump right in. The Aboriginal races of North America. All right, here's some verbiage on it. And then year 1880. In the following analysis, the names of the tribes have been generally given in a singular number for the sake of brevity, and the word Indians after such names is omitted from the same cause. Few abbreviations have been used. In some instances, references is made to the body of the work where a more extended account of a tribe is to be found. Such references are to the book and page the same as in the index. To be honest, I don't know what any of that stuff means, but let's go. So
we're gonna go through these names, guys. If you're watching the live stream, you should still have the ability to pause the video, to slow down the video. So you guys, make sure to digest this information at your own speed, to take a look and see if you see any of your family surnames listed under any of these tribes.
I think it's like 500 tribes and nations and stuff, Indian tribes and nations. So I'm just going to keep scrolling so, people can see and then pause to read or whatever, or like fast forward. But yeah, some of these words, well, all of these words I've never even seen before. So if you guys know anything about any of this stuff, please let us know in the comments so we all can learn. But you see the years, it's 1750, 1689, 1834. So this is from 1607. So like I said, pause to read. Let me know if you recognize any of this stuff. And I'm glad they put it in alphabetical order. And as you guys can see, this is 800 pages. So it's no joke. You recognize any of this stuff. And I'm glad they put it in alphabetical order. And as you guys can see, this is 800 pages.
Matter of fact, guys, have I been on mute this whole time? I think I'm dealing with some technical difficulties. Did you guys just hear my monologue I just did? Yes or no? Yes or no? What's going on? What's going on? I'm having some technical difficulties. Was I muted? Was I not muted? Put a 1 in the chat if you heard me. Put a 2 in the chat if you did not hear me. Put a 1 in the chat if you heard me. Okay. We was having a little bit of technical difficulties. All I was saying was that apparently I was wrong. Right now, we're not looking at the family surnames. The next video that we're going to get into in a few minutes is going to have the family surnames. What we're looking at right now are the different Indian tribes and nations. There were literally hundreds, almost 1,000 different Black Aboriginal Indian tribes here in America. And they only want to tell us about the 5 quote unquote civilized tribes that got beaten to submission. I mean, it even says right here, we've been learning about the Iroquois Confederacy lately. I've been doing streams about them. It even says right here that the Iroquois never actually called themselves Iroquois. The name that the Iroquois knew themselves by was the Iquanushiani. The Iquanushiani. So before we get into the family surnames, right now we're going to take a deep dive into the vast different number of Aboriginal American Indian tribes that were here. Meanwhile, they only want us to know about the 5 quote unquote civilized tribes that got beaten to submission and sold out to the Europeans. But let's get into it.
And I'm glad they put it in alphabetical order. And as you guys can see, this is 800 pages. So it's no joke. Like, this is a lot of information. But yeah, thank you guys so much for subscribing. The channel is doing a lot better than before, and I really thank you guys so much for that. Thank you. So we're going through. This is weird. I see Catawba. I did a video on Catawba in South Carolina. Oh wow, this is so cool. Let me know if y'all see your tribes or know anything about any of this stuff. I see Cherokee. Oh man. So, and then you got Cheskitaloa, the Seminoles, I guess. Man, this is a lot of information, y'all. Look. Man. Like I said, pause to read. You got a Copper tribe. Copper, so-called from their copper ornaments on Coppermine River in the north. That is so cool. You even got Delaware. I remember them. Man, this is so cool. I'm sorry about that rant earlier, y'all, but man, look at this. This is our heritage, man. Stolen heritage, by the way, because they, like I said before, they don't teach this stuff, man. That's why when I find something like, man,
And this is why when I discuss Aboriginal history with another Black person that says they're Native, I don't ask them what tribe they're a part of. The first thing I ask them is if they've done their family's genealogy. If they say yes, then I ask them what tribe they're affiliated with. Then if I learn that they're affiliated with a tribe that is federally recognized, then I'll ask if they have citizenship. But God damn it, it would be improper. It would be in poor taste for me to run around asking people if they got Native citizenship when we have hundreds upon hundreds of Aboriginal tribes that never got recognized by the government. Hundreds of tribes that were just stripped from history, a paper genocide, if you will. So a lot of us running around saying our grandma told us we Native, for all we know, we descend from one of these tribes that were never recognized.
I'm going to share it, man, because this is knowledge is power, right? You know what I mean? Like, dang, freaking genealogy, man. You're trying to look for stuff. And then they're giving locations, man, like Calusa.
And look, it even has the numbers of the population of some of these. Come on, y'all. Illinois. I didn't know that there was a tribe literally called Illinois. I never thought to myself, why is Illinois called Illinois as a territory? There was a tribe called Illinois, the Lake of Men. It was 12,000 of them in 1670. They had 60 towns. Come on. The Kikatsa were on both sides of Yellowstone. Above the mouth of Bighorn, they had 3,500 tribal members in 1805. Damn, so much history washed away, stripped from the record.
A tribe found early in Florida, long since extinct. You know, oh, you see how they be doing us? I bet you we still hear from that same tribe, man. You gotta watch them. Watch how they be lying. Man. All right. Man, this is so cool. Let me know if I'm going too fast, too slow. Like, I don't know, because I want to do that roll call again for the names. So I had to get some books. So to make sure get some books, and I just want to address the thing when I was reading from that book from the last video, the last two videos, I believe. It was the roll call video. The author was using some words that we didn't like. We don't use on this platform. The nappy hair or the Negro or the black, but she was just showing what they labeled it as, kind of like with the dreadlocks. She wasn't saying like, yo, I use dreadlocks. At least that's what I interpreted from what I kept rereading. She was just letting us know, like, this is what they would call it. They would call it, you know, kinky hair or nappy hair. And if you go back and listen to that video when I was reading the book, she did say that, hey, we are the...
Look at this, y'all. The Ozamis, one of the 6 tribes on the eastern shore of Maryland and Virginia. I never heard of that tribe before. They don't tell us about these tribes in school.
We are brown skinned people, reddish brown, chocolate brown. You know, like she knows the difference, who we are. You know, she's just saying that's what we're labeled. We're labeled as Negro. We're labeled as black. You know, and the people used to call our hair nappy or dreadlocks, but it's actually our natural, beautiful hair. And we have locks, not dreadlocks, because that's what the racists call dreadful. So she was just letting everybody know, like, yo, this is, if you've heard that term before, this is what the racists use. But I don't think she meant it and stuff. But when I see words like that, I won't read it anymore. If I see the word black, I'm gonna change it to autochthonous or indigenous or original, something like that. So, because I know I didn't read the word dreadlocks, I only read the word locks. So I caught that one, but I didn't catch the one like the nappy hair, because I was just so excited to learn about the Anisazis and like a new word. I've never heard of that before, that I was able to read about it, you know. So I apologize, and I'll make sure. And then I'll know the one with the presidents and stuff. Yeah, I didn't know who those people were, like their names. I saw the pictures, but I didn't know their names, kind of like with Frederick Douglass and stuff like that, and Abraham.
Yeah, shout out to actress Ronnie Davis. Says, I'm black from Omaha, Nebraska. My grandmother had photos of her mother and her mother that were full-blooded natives. Yep. Let's talk about it, y'all. Let's talk about it. Matter of fact, I did a broadcast not too long ago. Let me show you guys where to go find that. I did a broadcast not too long ago exposing the fact that Mildred Loving was not an African-American woman at all. She was a full-blooded Native American. Loving vs. Virginia, Hidden Black Native American History. Go check that out. I dropped that 2 weeks ago. Her family came out and said she was 100% full-blooded Indian on both sides. Stop calling my grandmama black. Stop calling my grandmama an African-American, okay? Come on, y'all. Let's get into it. They want us to think this was about an African-American marrying a European dude. No, this was about us Indians. Come on, let's get into it, y'all. But we're going to finish up this video on the the different native nations here, the different Indian nations. We're going to finish up this video in just a moment and segue over to the video with the surnames. So don't go anywhere, guys. We're going to bring up the surnames in just a moment.
It's like the European Abraham Lincoln and stuff. So yeah, I'll just make sure I'm better next time. But thank you guys so much for your corrections, though, man. It really helps out helps everyone learn, not just me. So thank you. And I hope you guys saw something new in here, man. Like, this is some man. This is a lot of good stuff, man. A lot of good stuff. And look at the locations, y'all. Remember I was talking about like genealogy, when your ancestors was labeled or reclassified to black or Negro or colored or mulatto, you can be like, okay, cool. So there go Delaware. So I could have been a Wapinga tribe or Waco tribe or something. Wampanoag. I know everybody know about that one. Man, this is so cool. All right. Man, let me know if y'all recognize any of this stuff. And let me know if you don't recognize it. Like we all should be learning this stuff together. That's why when I find this stuff, I'm like, man, I think people need to see. And look how Yamasee, south border of South Carolina.
And again, we're still only touching on the East Coast, down south. We ain't even talking about the Midwest and the West Coast, y'all. They got over 800 different tribes, and we just talking about the East Coast and down south.
And nearly destroyed in 1715 by the English. Remember how the Yamasee War was popping off in 1715, y'all? Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. And if you guys want to, thank you guys so much for leaving a super thanks. I really appreciate it. And if you don't want to leave a super thanks, it's like $2. If you don't want to leave, I can just let me know. I can put my Cash App in. If you just let me know, All right,
I think he's finished with the native tribes. Let's go ahead and segue to the surnames. These surnames that we're going to focus on this time around are from the Tuscarora Indians, surnames from 1695 to 1892. So this is the Tuscarora Indians.
Hey family, please turn your mobile devices to landscape mode. Viewing experience. Thank you. Hey family, if you are interested, here are some surnames from the Tuscarora from 1695 to 1892. While in the process of setting up the Tuscarora DNA project, they needed to find the names of the Tuscarora Indians who are documented in North Carolina before the removal to New York and in New York. The first part was relatively easy because they've already done the research and documented it in the series.
And guys, if you're new to the channel, I do members only live streams on Patreon every Sundays, and we've also got some exclusive content not seen on YouTube over there on Patreon. So make sure to go and sub to the Patreon, guys. It's only $5 per month. We're going to be dropping some gems over there as well.
Series of articles. The first posting is linked above, and from there you can get to the rest. There are a total of 15 segments of this series. From those early documents, they found a total of 407 people and transactions. Many were obviously the same people signing different deeds, for example, but there were many different surnames. So let's go see. So we have surnames from North Carolina group, excluding the New York chiefs, including Allen, Basket, Blunt.
So let's see, guys. I know when we did the first video on the surnames, I found my name, Lane, L-A-N-E. I know a lot of you guys found your names affiliated with different tribes. Let's see if any of our names pop up.
Blount or Blunt, Bridges, Kane, Charles, Cope, Cornelius, Dennis, George, Gibson or Gibson, Hancock, Harry, Hicks, Howett or Hewitt, Jack, James, maybe first name only, Joe as in Captain Joe Lawson, possibly, Lightwood spelled differently, Little John possibly, Lloyd, Miller, Mitchell, Netop, Owen, Owens, different variations, Paget or Paget, Pugh, Randall, Rash, Rice or Hill, Roberts, Robots or Roberts, different variations of Rogers, Seneca, Smith, Saki, Square Hooks, possibly, Stone, Strawberry Taylor, Thomas, Tough, Tyler, Walker, Wheeler, Welter, Wetter.
I don't know, guys. These are a lot of names that people would modern day say, oh, if you got one of these names, it was your slave master's name, and that's why you got that name. No, it looks like Aboriginal folks took on different surnames, and some of these surnames modern day, we affiliate them with Europeans for whatever reason, but God damn it, there was Aboriginals named Abraham and Walker and Taylor and Jones and Johnson and Jacob.
Waiter, Whitmail, different variations of Wiggins, Winnoat, Yalone. The surnames of people who returned to North Carolina from New York to deal with land sales and negotiation include Abraham, maybe first name only, Big Fish, Billy, Cassie, Chew, Cusick, Jack, Jacob, Johnson, Jones, Green, King, as a young king, Lewis, maybe first name only, Long, Board, Lovedenny, Mount Pleasant, Printup, Sakarusa, Sachem, maybe a description, not a surname, Smith, Thomas, maybe first name only, War Chief William. Tuscarora surnames recorded from New York in the War of 1812 include Allen, Beach, Blacknose, Cusick, Fox, Green, Henry, Miller, Mount Pleasant, Patterson, Pemberton, Peter, possibly, Printup, again, Sky, Skip, Smith, Thompson, Williams. The next record they were able to find was an Indian census of New York, 1888 to 1881, in which he or she found Alvis Anderson, Boobleton or Bembleton, Bissell, Brayley, Beaver, Cusick again, Chew, Douglas, De Forest, Fish, Garlow, Green, Gansworth, Hewitt, Hill, Henry, Isaac, Johnson, Jack, Jones, Jacob, Jonathan, Jennison or Jemison, Lonto, Mount Pleasant, Martin, Miller, Nash, Parkinson, Print Up again, Peter, Rackett, Sylvester, Smith, Seneca again, Thompson again, Williams again, White again. In 1809, there were a total of 404 Tuscarora, and in 1890, 392. Now for the interesting part of the Tuscarora in New York who had claimed for the War of 1812. 3 surnames were in common with the North Carolina Tuscarora: Allen, Miller, and possibly Smith. Smith was listed as an executor, so may have been a surname before leaving North Carolina. Looking at the War of 1812 records for the Seneca and Oneida, the tribes that adopted Tuscarora, there were few in any English name. So the Tuscarora, people may well have abandoned most English names for North Carolina, returning to mostly native names and later readopting possibly different English or French surnames.
Yes, guys, many Americans, the vast majority of Americans from back then adopted English or French surnames. That's just a fact. There was a lot of immigrants, for example, the Jewish folks. Guys, I didn't learn until a couple months ago, Mark Cuban from Shark Tank, Mark Cuban is Jewish. Well, Mike, his last name isn't like Goldstein or something. How do we know he's Jewish? Well, when I looked into his family's last name was at first Chebesky or something like that. And then when they got to America, they changed their last name to Cuban to assimilate into American culture. So immigrants coming over here take on English or French surnames. Native folks took on English or French surnames. It just said right here, some of them reverted back to their native names and some readopted the English and French surnames. So when they try to say, oh, well, your last name is Johnson or this or that, and it comes from your master's or last name. No. There was many free American citizens that adopted English and French surnames because that's what was the most prevalent and popular in society at the time.
Of the people in the 1888-1889 census, very few surnames were found when the Tuscarora resided in North Carolina, but those few include Hewitt, Jack, Miller, Smith, and Seneca. You may notice that 2 of these names, Miller and Smith, are names that were also in common between North Carolina group and the War of 1812 records. Granted, Miller and Smith are both very common names, but there is what appears to be continuity. So I'm going to post some genealogy links for you guys as well. It looks like there's a good possibility that 5 Tuscarora surnames survived the migration from North Carolina to New York and are likely found in descendants today. It is also very likely that the DNA of the proven Tuscarora paternal lines will match that of descendants, possibly carrying different surnames. In the Carolinas, where we know that some of the Tuscarora remain or married and assimilated. In fact, the records tell us clearly that William Kane and Tuscarora.
Come on, y'all. I told you they move, they marry, they assimilate. They got a movie they just dropped about Leonardo DiCaprio. He's starring in it, and it's about how all these white dudes marry all the native girls so they can steal their oil and their land and shit. I mean, there was a lot of assimilation going on.
Youth remained, and we know he reached the age of maturity, declined to move to New York, and was last seen headed for Raleigh. A woman named Esther Gibson remained, and at least one other female child. Others likely remained as well, but aren't named in financial records or had married and assimilated or moved elsewhere in earlier generations between the Tuscarora War in 1711 and the official final removal to New York in 1802. And that's all I have. So I'm gonna show you some websites for genealogy. And if you don't trust the free websites, I'll show you 2 to 3 websites where you can pay for it. If you don't feel comfortable doing it on your own, you can pay somebody. Let me bring it up. The first website. Here is the top free genealogy website if you want to check it out. And here's a bonus, www.worldwideweb.archive.com. And I'm going to show you the one that you can pay.
Yeah, guys, you got to look into that. You got to look into that movie. Who was asking about it? Play for Life says, what is the Leonardo DiCaprio movie that you're referencing? It's called Killers of the Flower Moon. Killers of the Flower Moon. Based on a true story.
You know, you got nice color skin. What color would you say that is?
My color.
The Osage. They have the worst land possible. But they outsmarted everybody. The land had oil on it. Black gold. Money flows freely here now. I do love that money, sir. This wealth should come to us. Their time is over.
Come on, if they gonna put it in a movie, how they was plotting and scheming on the Aboriginals because they got oil, then what do you think they did to us that they want to keep a secret? If they gonna publicly monetize this story of their deceits, then what do you think they really did to us?
It's going to be another tragedy.
When this money started coming, we should have known it came with something else. They're like buzzards circling our people. We're still warriors.
I ought to kill these white men who killed my family. I need you here.
I am right here. You've got to take back control of your home.
I was sent down from Washington, D.C. to see about these murders.
See what about them?
See who's doing it.
Yeah, when assimilating with your enemy goes wrong.
Expecting a miracle to make all this go away. You know they don't happen anymore.
Yeah, interesting, y'all. Interesting to say the least. But yeah, before we wrap up, if there's anybody that wants to call in, provide some commentary, I'm going to open up the phone lines. But yeah, chat, let me know. What did you think about this broadcast? I know that when it comes to the surnames, we were again focusing on the East Coast. We were even more so hyper-focusing on the Tuscarora tribe. But it said there clear as day that there were tribes that assimilated, adopted English and French names, some that, you know, stripped themselves of those European French names and went back to their native roots, and then some that readopted those names again. So yeah, many people in America have been adopting English and French surnames to get along, to go along and fit in, if you will. But it doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, your history comes from one of an African slave who, after getting free, took on their slave master's name. No, nah. Miss me with that. You can miss me with it. But guys, when this broadcast ends, don't go anywhere. There's going to be a countdown on the screen, and the next live stream is going to start automatically. and I will see you guys over there in just a moment. Don't touch that dial.